I just want to start this video by saying, like, I don't mean any hate to Poke. In fact, he's a great guy. I've actually talked to him before. He's just a sweet guy. He's so smart, clearly. He's obviously a beautiful person. But there are some things that I feel need to be addressed, especially as, like, he's such a big figure in our community that there needs to be some change. So let's get into some of the issues that currently stand with MSMpokegamer. I want to first mention that he should know that he started in the My Singing Monsters community, and he's still in the My Singing Monsters community. He's not someone who's built his own empire out of something he's created, or a game that could, like Minecraft, something you can play in your own way. No, My Singing Monsters is something you play in one way, and it's definitely a very branded thing. It's all the monsters in it are very iconic to the game, and he uses them in his videos. He obviously doesn't mean to cause any trouble, but he has to understand that he built his entire YouTube channel off of someone else's creation. And right off the bat, I think it's a little weird when My Singing Monsters YouTubers like make money off of their videos, which I do, but I want to point out that, like, it's not your thing. As long as you can give credit to the creators of My Singing Monsters, you're fine. You're making your money, you're making your living. That's fine. I get it. Everybody needs money, everybody needs to be supported in some way, but when you get to a certain point, you have to branch off if you want to do things like make merchandise, or you want to start doing sponsors. You can't really be someone who's based on someone else's creation with no relation and start making money in these ways. I want to really press in the point that MSMpokegamer is just a normal dude and he's making a living. Yeah, maybe there are some things that he does that should be changed, but he's just doing what he has to do to get by. And that's totally fine. Everybody has those things. I don't totally approve of how he stretches out some of his videos or posts them multiple times in just slightly different ways so that he can get more money out of them. I would say that if he really needs like that extra cash, that he should maybe make like a Patreon or some sort of like a GoFundMe or something that can get him a little bit of money by people who really do support him and like just want to like encourage him and keep the content that he makes going. The thing that everyone seems to be calling MSMpokegamer right now is a sellout. MSMpokegamer is, he doesn't do a lot of work like a lot of animators like me or Mantis Boy or Stack do these days. And he's not making original music like maybe My Singing Mammoths or Logan Peters or other YouTubers like that are doing. He seems to just be taking he is just taking things that My Singing Monsters has created and sort of just rebranding them as his own, which in all honesty is a very scummy tactic. It's very bad. It's it's important, so we need somebody like that who can give out breeding codes, but I feel like he shouldn't really be like the really big My Singing Monsters YouTuber that he is. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't make some original creative content, because he does. He makes some theories, but his theories are a whole nother bag of worms, so we'll get into that. I just want to say, MSMpokegamer, if you are watching this, you have other options that I think would be much better than taking sponsorships or making merchandise on your first channel. Now, he does have a gaming channel now, which I think definitely needs a lot of work. He's definitely growing into it right now, and I don't think that he's going to get it on the first try. I think he's going to need some time to adapt to this new format. But when he does, I think that making that your main channel would actually be a pretty good move on your part. Because then you can actually brand yourself as this gamer, right? You're not somebody who's just using My Singing Monsters, one independent game with not a lot to work from. You're actually working from Roblox and Minecraft and Animal Crossing and things like that. And you're able to really diversify, and then you can, I'd say you could make merchandise there. You could definitely move your merchandise there. You could definitely start taking sponsorships there. Now, let's get back to his theories and some of his creative content. So, his theories are a whole other thing. He makes very outlandish theories. I find that a lot of the time he'll exaggerate the truth. Like, we'll get like little details. My Singing Monsters is famous for giving very small tidbits of information and then having to work all those into one big thing. Things that really don't mean a lot on their own, but only mean something when you put them all together. A lot of the time you can't really see what My Singing Monsters is doing. It seems like they're really good at hiding the truth, and then when what they actually wanted to do and intended on doing comes out, it's like, wow, I did not see that coming. That's really cool. I couldn't have imagined that on my own, especially with the information that you got. Although now you've got that information, you're like, oh, that makes sense. You know, I wouldn't have expected that, but it does make sense. So then, when you've got something so small, like the example I want to give is Glubbers. Back in the day, there was not a lot of evidence around Glubbers being the Party Island animal that it's on, and I don't even think it turned out that that was what it was, but there was no evidence behind it. They just said that it was some sort of large animal that lived during the dawn of fire. Some large Leviathan-like animal that lived during the dawn of fire. And yes, that now seems like it's definitely referencing Dawn of Fire, and that makes sense, but there was not enough information backing it at the time that would have made sense. And it's great that turned out to be the truth, but there was really a high % chance that wasn't correct. And I just want to point out that you seem to be stretching the truth. Once again, you were correct, but I'd say in the future, take more safer steps. And then he seems to be getting a little cocky about this too, I have to say, because recently he introduced a theory about a villain in My Singing Monsters, which at first makes sense, because what good story doesn't have conflict, right? That's a pretty necessary aspect if you want to make a good storyline. But you can't say that there'd be a villain in a game like My Singing Monsters that is based on peace, you know, and music and dancing. It's just not that kind of game. You're not gonna get something like a villain out of it, you know. There's gonna be some other type of conflict. Maybe it was like an accident. Maybe somebody messed up. I don't know.
Personally, a theory that I have is that the prismatics, the creatures on the other side of the prism gate might have been the magicals. Maybe they were doing some type of experimenting, or taking things from the monster world and like messing with it on the other side, you know? Maybe that's what happened to Space and
Cloud and Party and Cave Island, and then the Titans came out and replaced them.
I'm sorry, that's sort of a big branch off, but the point is, I can't prove that, you know? And I have not enough evidence to back that up, so I'm not going to claim that that's the truth. And MSMpokegamer doesn't claim that that's the truth. But it seems much more plausible than a villain in a series. More likely it was, as I said, as I sort of implied, it was maybe like an accident or something. Like they didn't mean to mess things up. And I don't think the villain, MSMpokegamer's theory says that it's not really a villain, it's more of just somebody who, you know, it's an accident, again. But I just don't think that they would put off introducing someone like that for a long time. I think that it's probably someone we know, and I think that using the term villain is just a little outlandish. A little bit of stretching the truth. So in your theories in the future, I'd like to point out that you need to give a little bit of restraint. I'm personally guilty of the same thing. I tend to stretch the truth when I'm theorizing about Mycene monsters and go a little farther than you know, is really in the range of possibility. But that makes sense because it's a game that's very obscure up until the point that they actually reveal what was actually happening. You couldn't have guessed it, you know? They're very good at that. But I just want to say that as such a big creator, you do have responsibility to be the bigger man, you know, in this situation, and say that Mycene monsters sort of just probably isn't going to go down that route realistically. Like, it's fun to imagine, it's fun to theorize, but since you've got such a large following, you know, people are definitely believing this stuff that you say. They're taking it for fact, not for concept, because you have, whether you want to admit it or not, we as Mycene Monsters YouTubers have a child fan base, you know? They're impressionable kids, and we need to be responsible about that, and we need to, I mean, it's not like a super big issue. It's not saying like, we're not like Logan Paul or Jake Paul or Ricegum promoting gambling or something like horrible like that, but you are slightly misleading, and I think that's something that could definitely change. And I do actually want to talk a little bit more about our child audiences. So let's get into my third point, the fan base. So, as I mentioned, MSMpokegamer is a very influential YouTuber, and as that's the case, as I've said, he needs to take a little bit of responsibility as for what he's saying. And I think that he, not only is he sort of misleading his fan base, and I don't think this is his fault. I want to stress, I don't think this is the fault of him. You know, this is just how, he's a kid. He is not an adult. Just like me, you know, my brain isn't fully developed. I'd like to just get this stuff out there because I think that a lot of it is very dangerous, maybe. I'd say that another issue that I really want to bring up that really punctuates this issue, you know, is the fact that MSMpokegamer has a Discord server, and he charges $5 a year to be part of it. Now, that's not much. That's really not a lot of money, you know? That's pretty cheap. But still, you've got kids. If you want to have like an older audience, that's fine. On your gaming channel, maybe you'll learn that you need an older audience to really charge them for these kinds of stuff. You shouldn't be charging kids for merchandise. You shouldn't be charging kids for the chance to maybe talk to you, because that's scummy. They look up to you. You need to. I know there's a lot of them, but you need to take the responsibility. Not necessarily do you have to talk to these kids and not charge them. You know, it's not like it's sort of a thing where like if you reduce the amount of kids to only the ones who really want to talk to you, then it's easier to talk to them. But I feel like it should be free. You should let them in, and not necessarily should you charge them, but maybe you should find another way to talk to them. You should talk to them as a broader audience, which sure doesn't feel as personal, but you need to you can't be charging kids for the concept of talking to you. That's just scummy. It is. I'm sorry. I know you probably don't mean it to be, and once again, you're just trying to get by. Everybody needs money, that's fine, but it's a scummy way to go about it. I have to say that. These kids look up to you, so you gotta take a little bit of responsibility. I don't have great ideas when it comes to this, but maybe you could have some sort of a randomizer on your Discord, right? And you would allow certain kids the chance to talk to you, you know? Fine, great. Or maybe people could give you ideas for videos, and if there's something you really liked, you could talk to them, right? I don't know. You can figure something else on your own, because I shouldn't be the one giving you these ideas. This is your channel. This is your thing to take care of. I just want to put some constructive criticism in there, and hopefully this can help change you, MSMpokegamer. I know I've talked to you about criticism in the past. I've actually DM'd you on Instagram before, and I gave you some tips a couple times. Every once in a while I'll do that when I see a video that really intrigued me, and it's because you're such an influential figure. You're like a mascot for the My Sea Monsters community. People look up to you. People know you. You're a celebrity to us. So you need to take a little bit of responsibility. That's my 2 cents. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll be making more of these in the near future. And I guess I will see you guys later.
I do also want to mention, just before this video is over, that when I was referring to the time that I met MSMpokegamer before, it was when I did an Omegle stream. I was talking to just fans on there. People could put in the code RockOnRiff. Might do that again sometime, but that's a pretty shady website, so I don't know if I will. But Peter did get a little bit of a recording of that back in the day, and we never had a real good place to put that into a video. So I figured I'd just do that right now. A little backstory is I may have said something a little bit rude. MSMpokegamer was, we didn't know it was him. We thought it was just somebody who wanted to talk to us, and they weren't showing their face. And they asked for me to do an MSMpokegamer collaboration, which, you know what, I'd be down to do. You know what, you're a great guy. I don't agree with everything you do, but I think that you definitely have the potential to change. And I want to help you through that, because I know you're a sweet guy. And then, so I said, I don't know what I was doing that day. I felt really cocky for some reason, and I whispered to the camera. They said, you should do a MSMpokegamer collab, and I said, oh, you know what? I actually talked to him on Instagram, and I fixed MSMpokegamer, because I had I don't know, I gave him some dumb little tip, but anyways, it turned out to be him, and Peter only got a couple seconds of footage, but here's what he got.
And now, so, yeah, make sure you're getting the chat in too. So what this guy's requested is an MSMpokegamer collaboration, and I may or may not be able to pull that off. We'll see. It would be really cool if I could. I'd actually love to do that. So we'll think about it. We'll do what we can to do that. You've got it. Oh, it's MSMpokegamer! This is so funny. Dude, this is... okay. No, man.
Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I've got plenty of other videos like this, and if you really enjoyed this, you can watch those, like the video, or even subscribe if you really want to support us. This is RockOnRiff. Once again, I don't know what happened to the picnic basket in the summer of 1974.